the record of Zeke doesn't speak very well. Let me go to Onyema and conclude very speedily, because people are now complaining about their data, as usual. The AP CEO is a clear message to used saboteurs, because it's been used, that no matter what a slave does, he can never be the heir apparent to his master. I think it was actually Elochukwu that wrote this. I read it and I felt it was appropriate that I touch upon it tonight. People have actually asked me, including, I thought the deputy asked me this, to clarify something about, I said this during my last broadcast about the visit of Alan Onyema to my house. And I believe that what I said during that broadcast may have precipitated this very investigation by the zoo through the FBI at the instigation of the U.S. Department for Justice. What some people do not know is that Alan Onyema came to my house. He visited me, and we talked about the zoo and what was happening in the zoo. He talked about the consequences of the quit notice, the hate speech by the Alamajiri, those Babiyala kids in the north. But of course, I knew it was their master speaking through them. One thing he forgot was that I am a Biafran first and foremost, and I'm incorruptible. He said he wanted to see how there could be peace, at least how people will not be killed in the north. And he said to him, anything you want to do, you can do. I too am against our people being killed in the north. And that was it. The next line I heard, of course, people love taking pictures with me when they see me, as some of you may have gathered. He said we should take pictures with the Alamajiri he brought with him. I can't say no. I am an Igbo man. I grew up in the village. You don't say no to your visitors. I said yes, and we took pictures. And they started writing rubbish. And as soon as he went to BBC and granted them an interview, in fact, basically, when I read that he said those he rescued from South Africa were singing a national anthem, some of the lazy youths online working for APC descended on IPOB saying, can you see one of you claim Alan Onyema is a Biafran. He was happily singing the national anthem. I knew his days were numbered. And then he gave the interview to BBC Igbo, where he maligned my person and basically lied against me. That was when I decided, that I know more about him than he can ever imagine. That was when they decided to move after him. So one of them wrote actually online. His name is Muhammad Al-Haji Danjuma. I think he came to my house as well with Alan. Today we paid our brother Nnamdi Kanu a visit, and out of deference to my brother Onyema and my humble self, we agreed to stop any hate speech or action that will promote violence. I told you about Fulani. They are the ones that made the hate speech against the Igbos living in the north. He came to my house and he's gone back and he's writing that we all agreed to stop any hate speech. Of course, he said, interestingly, he is for peace. Of course, I am for peace and well-being of every Nigerian, which I am. I have said it many times. I want all of you to be free from the shackles of Fulani hegemony and British neo-colonial slavery. I've said that many times. I want the Hausas to be free. I want everybody to be free. Do you think I'm looking for Biafra just for my own sake? Of course not. I want people to be free. Because if they're not free and developed, they will all flock to Biafra. to come and seek or to come to seek a living. I don't want that. I want people to be developed, to stay in their own land, practice their own culture, their religion, and do whatever they have to do. So I am for peace in that regard. I'm not a terrorist. So why shouldn't I be for peace? So I think they misunderstood me or deliberately chose to misrepresent my discussions with them. And that angered me, made me very, very upset. I am not, as an Okwana and an Alpha John, as they say, I don't know how to say that in English. In my place, when you come and you say you have a proposal, I will listen. People come to prison to see me, I listen to them. People propose proposals to me when I was in DSS custody, I listen to them. Can't tell you to go away. I will always listen to you. Always. But what I will do, or what I always do, remains a secret with me. But to compromise what I stand for and the Biafra struggle for independence is not something I will do. I'll be dead 10 times over. I have sacrificed a lot and will continue to sacrifice until Biafra is restored. I don't care or mind what people say or do. Onyema made a very big mistake, very huge one, by delving into a topic that is entirely above his station. He wanted to please his Fulani masters by telling them that he had a meeting and a discussion with Nnamdi Kanu, and that was a very huge mistake. Very huge mistake. A lot of people come to see me in secret that I have not told anyone about. They decided not to publicize it for their own good. He's gone ahead and done so, knowing fully well that IPOB will rise against him and that we will seek to defend our honor. Now we have done so. The Fulanis have moved against him because they know that IPOB cannot defend somebody who deliberately sought to undermine the effort and integrity of this very noble effort. Onyema is in a very serious mess. Look at him today and the mess he got himself into. The Fulanis, who are the greatest looters we have, they are in charge of EFCC. Ibrahim Lamode, have you forgotten? Look at all the criminal Fulani people. What do they know? They're not educated. They forge certificates, all of them. They rig themselves into power. Or they appoint themselves into power in a so-called democracy. How many of them have been charged by the U.S. government? And I want to ask the U.S. Department for Justice, or whatever they call themselves. How many of Fulani people have you charged? The time Omar Diko was in London, Omar Diko ran away with a mobile bank. Omar Diko ran away with almost £5 billion in those days. That money could feed the whole of Africa. Are the children not enjoying the money today? Some of you may be too young to remember a man called Ibrahim Taher. He was the Minister of Communications, a Fulani man. They stole Nitel dry and set the building alight. Nitel building in Marina, in Lagos. That was how much money they stole. Umar Diko was Minister for Transport. Remember Akinloye and his champagne? Akinloye was importing champagne in his name. Some of you have forgotten all this. These are the looters and the criminals you have. Oh, Hausa Fulani. I wouldn't say Hausa, please. I do apologize to Hausa people. They're all Fulani. All of them. By none. Buhari, when he was alive during the reign of Abacha, was in charge of PTF. How about the 57 suitcases? You've forgotten, haven't you? Buhari was in charge of PTF, and he stole it dry because Abacha used it to launder money. You have all forgotten. Nobody's squaring them, nobody's investigating them. Onyema abused the privilege I granted him by allowing him to come into my sitting room to sit down with me to have a discussion. And from there, he felt he could leverage that very encounter to endear himself to the Northerners. And they have turned around and rejected him. That is his business. I want to ask the United States Justice Department, how many Fulani looters of the Treasury have you indicted? I want to also ask the U.S. Department for Justice and the FBI, Are you not aware that Tinubu was a drug dealer in Chicago? Did you not see the bullion van that went to Tinubu's house on the eve of the elections? Have you charged him? I also want to ask the U.S. Department for Justice if they have not heard about Aisha Buhari and his involvement with Halliburton, the bribery scandal. You've not investigated any of those, but you want to investigate Alan Onyema because he's Igbo, because he's seen to be successful, and because he went against IPOB again, which is a lapse in judgment on his part. But let us see how the whole thing plays out. We are not a fan of people that indulge in criminality. But everybody in the zoo is corrupt, especially politicians and those in high office. How they make their money is entirely up to them. They know how they do it. So we see how the whole thing plays out in the next few weeks. I'm not going to get him into any more trouble by asking questions I shouldn't ask at this point in time. But I do believe that he may have learned his lesson by now. That no matter how strong you feel, you are close to the Fulani Caliphate. Provided you come from Biafra land, all of us, they will come after you. You see, write it down today. You see Chibik Hamage. One day they'll go after him. Write it down on a piece of paper. Write it down and quote me when it happens. That's the way they operate. Azikiwe served them. Look at, you heard what Azikiwe was saying. You heard it. Yet in 1979, they didn't vote for him. They didn't vote for him. Because he is a Biafran. And they don't trust him. They have come after many people, haven't they? They came after Ezekiel Izuogo. They went after Ibeto. This is after saying we are one Nigeria. Once you come out and say, I love Nigeria more than even the Fulani, you're finished. They don't believe you. They don't trust you. Look at the interview of Junaid Mohammed today. Look at what Arewa Consultative Forum are saying. But at the height, I wouldn't say at the height of agitation, in 2015, the whole Arewa came to Enugu for a meeting. They called the stupid Efulefus, they attended a meeting together. Let's build Nigeria together. Today they're telling you now they have the power, they have INEC, they have the judiciary, they have the media, they have everybody. They have the Senate and House of Reps. They're not telling you to go to hell. All they will say is that the population of the North is more than the South. So regardless of what you do, they are more in number. So they will claim and they'll give themselves victory. And you wail for a few days on social media and you go back to buying a liter of petrol, 280 naira. And that'll be it. And when you hear that IPOB is rallying or agitating to save you, you take out your frustration and your hopelessness on IPOB when you should direct it against Fulani people. That is how sad our people are. Look at it better. I remember Faneka telling me when we met in Kuje that Ibeto was suffering in EFCC custody. What was his crime? He dared to sell cement like Dangote. America is looking for who to investigate. Let them not anger us because we are watching them. If they escalate this thing tomorrow or day after tomorrow, then we will all give FBI the names of those to investigate and where their money is, where they banked all the money that they looted from the zoo. That is something that they must understand. That is something they must know. We are not going to give up. Not now, not tomorrow, not ever. We will not surrender our land to them. Of course not, we won't. Because as I said before, I grew up in the village. So we'll deal with the enemies of our people first, and then we'll deal with Allen later. But right now, we are going to defend him. We will defend him. And from tomorrow, we'll give FBI the names of those to investigate. People that actually looted the treasury. And be rest assured that Babangida's name will be there. When we submit your name, we'll also tell them where to find the money that you looted from the treasury. So since FBI is now interested in tackling corruption in the zoo, we welcome them. We welcome them with open arms. We are now going to give them the names of those to investigate. Every Fulani, Alamajiri, criminal, looter, be rest assured that your names will be going up to FBI and to United States Department for Justice. And if they fail to investigate, then we will make the case that Onyema's case is victimization, a continuation of the economic emasculation of the Biafran people, which we will not tolerate. Some of you will sit at home, some will be gossiping, but I can assure you that I will be meeting those that matter face to face in America, discussing these very issues in the next few days. So we'll defend Allen, but I'm sure he's learned his lessons. Don't lie against IPOB or myself, or else you get yourself into trouble. Don't try the nonsense you pulled next time. And Allen Onyema is the very last amnesty we are going to grant anybody. Any efulefu caught up in one Nigeria mess, from today onwards, we will not defend that very person. Unless you identify with Biafra. Unless you identify with IPOB. If you don't identify with IPOB and with Biafra, we will not defend you in the future. As simple as that. Then you will bear your cross. It is as simple as that. Innocent, we defended. Ibeto, we tried our best. They pulled down or they tried to frustrate Bat Nnaji as well. The list is endless. And as one of our brothers wrote very movingly, Agunze Onwoka, only a fool would want one Nigeria. Only a fool will want one Nigeria. No sensible person will want one Nigeria. Allen Onyema served the zoo and now has come back with shame. But we must defend him. We must defend him because the Alamajiris, they hunt in packs. That is something that you must know. They hunt in packs. That is something our people must know. Even Amnesty International released a report accusing those governing or ruling the zoo in the name of Buhari. They accuse them of oppression, intimidation, disregard for the rule of law. Also, the American people will be hearing about this and how much that Abba Kyari has made. They have opened up a can of worms, I'm telling you. Because FBI will investigate, is it Yusuf Buhari? What is Buhari's son's name? The fourth richest person in Africa. FBI is going to investigate him and investigate Aisha as well. We'll make sure it happens. You know, in the USA, they follow due process. Once the complaint comes in and it has merit, they will investigate. So it is not just Onyema. No. Whoever suggested that Onyema should be investigated, you've made the worst mistake of your life. Every Alamajiri, every Fulani, every criminal in the zoo will be investigated, including Tinubu.